You need to decide how you want to invest for retirement 401k or Roth IRA. That one decision could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime, maybe even over $1 million, and most people make it completely blind. Let's start with the 401k because this is the one most people encounter first, and honestly, most people don't even understand what it actually is. A 401k is not an investment. Let me say that again. A 401k is not an investment. It's an account. It's a bucket. And inside that bucket, you put investments, stocks, index funds, bonds, ETFs. The 401k itself is just the container, and that container comes with a very specific tax advantage. Here's how it works. When you contribute to a traditional 401k, you're using pre-tax dollars. That means the money comes out of your paycheck before the government takes their cut. So if you make $70,000 a year and you contribute $10,000 to your 401k, the IRS only taxes you on $60,000. Right now, today, you're paying less in taxes. That sounds amazing, right? And it is. But here's the catch that nobody tells you clearly enough. You don't escape the tax. You defer it. When you retire and start pulling that money out, you pay income tax on every single dollar you withdraw. So if you're 65 and you pull out $50,000 to live on, that $50,000 is taxed as ordinary income. Now, the logic behind this is you'll probably be in a lower tax bracket in retirement. Maybe today you're earning $100,000 and you're in the 22% or 24% bracket. In retirement, maybe you're only withdrawing $40,000 a year. So you're in the 12% bracket. You saved money on taxes by delaying them. That's the bet. And for a lot of people, historically, that bet has paid off. But let's hold that thought. Because the Roth IRA flips this entire logic on its head. The Roth IRA is the 401k's younger, cooler, more misunderstood cousin. Same concept. It's a bucket. You put investments inside it. But the tax treatment is completely reversed. With a Roth IRA, you contribute post-tax dollars, meaning you already paid taxes on this money. You take your regular paycheck, after the government already took their share, and you put it into the Roth IRA. No deduction today. No upfront tax break. But here's where it gets insane. That money grows completely tax-free. And when you retire, you pull it out completely tax-free. Not tax-deferred, tax-free. Zero. The government gets nothing. Think about what that means in practice. If you put $6,500 into a Roth IRA at 25 and it grows to $100,000 by the time you're 65, that entire $100,000 is yours. You don't owe a single dollar in taxes on any of that growth. With a traditional 401k, that same $100,000 in growth, you owe taxes on every withdrawal. Now you start to see why this comparison matters so much. But before we get to the numbers, because we are absolutely getting to the numbers, let's talk about the structural differences. Because the tax treatment isn't the only thing that separates these two accounts. The key differences, rules, limits, and flexibility. This is where it gets practical. Because knowing the theory is one thing, but understanding the rules is what helps you actually make the right decision. Contribution limits. For 2024, a 401k lets you contribute up to $23,000 per year. If you're 50 or older, you can contribute an extra $7,500 as a catch-up contribution, bringing that total to $30,500. A Roth IRA, the limit is $7,000 per year, $8,000 if you're 50 or older. So the 401k lets you shelter significantly more money from taxes in a given year. If you're a high earner who wants to aggressively reduce your taxable income right now, the 401k has a massive structural advantage just on limits alone. Income limits. Here's the twist. The Roth IRA has income limits. As of 2024, if you're a single filer making more than $161,000, your ability to contribute to a Roth IRA starts phasing out. If you make more than $176,000, you can't contribute directly at all. The 401k, no income limits. Doesn't matter if you make $60,000 or $600,000, you can still contribute to your 401k. Now, there is a workaround for high earners called the backdoor Roth IRA, and that's a whole other video. But for most regular earners, the Roth IRA is fully accessible, the employer match. This is huge, and this is where the 401k often wins without even trying. Many employers offer a match on your 401k contributions. The most common is something like, we'll match 50% of your contributions up to 6% of your salary. So if you make $80,000 and you contribute 6%, that's $4,800. Your employer throws in another $2,400 for free. That's free money, a guaranteed 50% instant return on your investment before the market even does anything. There's no employer match equivalent for a Roth IRA. It's an individual account. You fund it yourself. This one factor alone, the employer match, can make the 401k the clear winner for a massive segment of the population. Withdrawal rules and flexibility. Here's where the Roth IRA pulls ahead in a different way. Flexibility. With a traditional 401k, if you try to pull money out before age 59 and a half, you get hit with a 10% early withdrawal penalty on top of the income tax you owe. It's brutal. That money is essentially locked up. With a Roth IRA, you can withdraw your contributions, not the earnings, just what you put in, at any time, penalty-free, tax-free, because you already paid taxes on it. The government can't penalize you for taking back your own money. This makes the Roth IRA function almost like a backup emergency fund for some people. It's not something I'd recommend leaning on. You want that money growing. But the flexibility is there. Required minimum distributions. One more difference that most young people completely ignore until it matters. Required minimum distributions, or RMDs. With a traditional 401k, once you turn 73, the IRS forces you to start withdrawing money, whether you want to or not. They want their taxes, and they're not waiting forever. With a Roth IRA, no RMDs, the money can sit and grow for as long as you're alive. You can even pass it on to your heirs, who get to inherit it tax-free. The Roth IRA is one of the most powerful wealth transfer tools in existence. The math. Which one actually makes you more money? Okay, this is the section everyone's been waiting for. Let's actually run the numbers. Because here's the truth. In a vacuum, mathematically, the 401k and the Roth IRA produce the same outcome. If your tax rate is identical when you contribute and when you withdraw, that's the neutral case. The real question is, where will taxes be higher, now or in the future? Let me walk you through 3 scenarios. Scenario 1, you're young, low income, just starting out. Let's say you're 24 years old. You're making $45,000 a year. You're in the 22% tax bracket, maybe even the 12% bracket. Right now, your taxes are relatively low, but over the next 40 years, you're going to grow in your career. You're going to earn more, and even if you don't, tax rates broadly have been rising over time, and many experts argue they'll continue to do so as government debt increases. In this case, Roth IRA wins. Here's why. You pay taxes now at a low rate, 12% or 22%. That money goes in and grows for 40 years, completely untouched by the IRS. When you retire and pull it out, you pay nothing, not a cent. If instead you'd used a 401k, you'd get a small tax break today. But in retirement, All that compounded growth gets hit with whatever the tax rate is decades from now. If rates have gone up, you lose, paying taxes on the seed, not the harvest. That's the Roth philosophy. And when the seed is cheap, you always want to pay on the seed. Scenario 2. You're a high earner in your peak years. Now flip it. You're 42. You're making $180,000 a year. You're in the 32% or even 35% tax bracket. Every dollar you make right now is getting taxed heavily. In this case, the 401k has a serious argument. By contributing $23,000 to your 401k, you immediately reduce your taxable income by $23,000. At a 32% tax rate, that's $7,360 you don't pay in taxes this year. That money stays invested and keeps growing. In retirement, if you're withdrawing $80,000 a year, you might be in the 22% bracket, or even lower, especially if you're strategic about your withdrawals. You saved taxes at 32% and paid them at 22%. That 10% spread on hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's massive. In this scenario, the traditional 401k wins. Scenario 3. The hybrid play, what most smart investors do. Here's what the smartest investors actually do. They don't pick one. They use both. Max out the 401k at least up to the employer match, because free money is always the first move. Always. No debate. If your employer matches up to 4% of your salary, you contribute 4%. Done. Non-negotiable. Then, if you're eligible and you still have money to invest, you open a Roth IRA and contribute up to the $7,000 annual limit. And if you still have money after that, you go back and max out the rest of your 401k. This is the order of operations for building serious wealth. 1. 401k up to the full employer match. 2. Roth IRA to the contribution limit. 3. Max out the rest of the 401k. Why does this work? Because you get diversification, not just in your investments, but in your tax exposure. In retirement, you have buckets taxed differently. Need to pull $30,000 this year? Take from the Roth, zero tax. Need extra for a medical expense? Pull from the 401k, pay the tax. You have options, and options are power. The Roth IRAs. Secret weapon, time and compound growth. Let me take a moment to talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention when people compare these accounts, the compounding advantage of the Roth. Here's a thought experiment Max likes to run. Two people both earn $50,000 a year. Both invest $5,000 per year. Both earn a 7% average annual return over 35 years. The only difference, one uses a traditional 401k, one uses a Roth IRA. The person who used a traditional 401k ends up with about $669,000. But here's the thing, they owe taxes on all of it. At a 22% tax rate, they actually walk away with around $522,000. The person who used a Roth IRA also ends up with about $669,000. But they owe nothing. $669,000, all of it theirs. Same contribution, same return, $147,000 difference, purely from the tax structure. And that's assuming the tax rates stay the same. If rates go up, the gap gets wider. This is the Roth's secret weapon. Tax-free compounding over long periods of time is one of the most powerful forces in personal finance. Cyrus, what about tax rates in the future? Let's talk about something a little uncomfortable, the future of taxes in America. Right now, the U.S. national debt is over $34 trillion. The government is spending more than it takes in. Social Security is facing funding shortfalls. Medicare is underfunded. These are not political opinions. They're mathematical realities from government-published reports. And the question every retirement investor should be asking is, What happens to tax rates over the next 20, 30, 40 years? Historically, U.S. tax rates have fluctuated dramatically. In the 1950s, the top marginal tax rate was over 90%. In the 1980s, Reagan dropped it to 28%. Today, the top rate is 37%. Nobody knows exactly where taxes will go, but many financial analysts, including some of the most respected names in the business, argue that rates are more likely to go up than down over the next few decades given fiscal pressures. If that's true, the Roth IRA isn't just a good option, it's a hedge against future tax increases. You're locking in today's tax rates while they may still be historically moderate. This isn't fear-mongering, it's strategic thinking. And it's one of the strongest arguments for prioritizing the Roth IRA, especially for younger investors who have decades before they need the money. Common mistakes people make with these accounts. Let's talk about the mistakes. Because knowing the right move isn't enough, you also need to know the wrong moves. Mistake number 1, not contributing at all because you can't max out. This one drives me crazy. So many people say, I can't afford to put in $23,000 this year, so I'll just skip it. That logic is broken. Even $100 a month invested consistently for 30 years at a 7% return turns into over $120,000. Start where you are. Scale up as your income grows. Inaction is always worse than partial action. Mistake number 2, ignoring the employer match. I've said it already, but I'll say it again because it's that important. If your employer offers a match and you're not taking it, you are leaving free compensation on the table. It's not even a financial strategy question at that point. It's just math. A 50% or 100% instant return is unbeatable. Mistake number 3, treating the Roth IRA as a savings account. The Roth IRA is an investment account. The whole point is to invest aggressively inside it, ideally in broad index funds or ETFs with long-time horizons. Parking it in a money market account or a savings rate inside the Roth defeats the entire purpose. Let it grow. Mistake number 4, converting everything to a Roth at the wrong time. Some people hear about Roth conversions, moving money from a traditional 401k or IRA to a Roth, and go all in without thinking about the tax hit. If you convert $200,000 in a single year, that $200,000 gets added to your income and taxed accordingly. It could push you into a significantly higher bracket. Conversions are powerful, but they need to be strategic, ideally done gradually in lower income years. Mistake number 5, cashing out a 401k when changing jobs. This is devastating and surprisingly common. You leave a job, you see that $15,000 sitting in your old 401k, and you think, hey, I could use that. So you cash it out. The IRS withholds 20% immediately. Then you owe income tax on the whole amount. Then you pay a 10% early withdrawal penalty. You might end up with 55 cents on the dollar. Roll it over to an IRA or your new employer's 401k instead. Always. So, who actually wins? Here's the honest answer. There is no single winner. The right account depends on your situation, your tax bracket, your employer, and your timeline. But if I had to give you a framework, and I do, here's how to think about it. Choose the Roth IRA as your priority. If you're young, under 40, you're in a lower tax bracket right now, under 22%. You believe tax rates will be higher in the future. You want flexibility and no RMDs. You're self-employed and don't have access to an employer plan. Prioritize the 401k if your employer offers a match. Always capture this first. You're in a high tax bracket right now, 32% plus. You want to aggressively reduce your taxable income this year. You're a high earner who earns too much to contribute to a Roth IRA directly, and do both if. You're a mid-range earner with flexibility. You want tax diversification in retirement. You want to play offense and defense with your retirement strategy simultaneously. The real wealth is built not by choosing the perfect account, but by starting early, staying consistent, investing in growth assets, and letting time do the heavy lifting. We started with that moment at HR, staring blankly at a form that could determine your financial future. Now you know. A 401k gives you a tax break today and taxes you later. A Roth IRA taxes you today and sets you free tomorrow. One wins when tax rates drop. The other wins when they rise. And when your employer offers free money, you take it, always. The truth is, most people never take the time to understand this stuff. They just pick something random, cross their fingers, and hope it works out. You just spent real time understanding it. That already puts you ahead of 90% of people. Now the only question left is, are you actually going to do something with it? Open that account. Make that contribution. Set up that automatic deposit. Even if it's $50. Even if it's $100. Because the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time? Right now.